first, let's talk about that college football playoff national championship game that happened Monday night. And I'm going to briefly talk about it, like I said. So, this game, and I'm going to cut to the records right here. Well, not the records, but just the bracket that we saw. So, there is your playoff bracket. Alabama lost to Michigan in overtime in the Rose Bowl. And then Washington beat Texas. And so that would lead to our Michigan-Washington national championship game. And so it was the game, I think, was closer than what the score tells you right there. Michigan ends up winning the game 34-13. But I will say this. I think the game was a whole lot closer than what it seemed, because I think there was a couple plays Michigan really got up on Alabama. I mean, not Alabama, but Washington. I'm sorry. Alabama's got to do with the bombshell news. It's coming. Trust me. Also, for those of you watching, I forgot to mention this here at the beginning, but live streams from here on, I'm going to try to do them at 6:30 p.m. here on YouTube, and then those of you watching on Rumble, that it'll be a recorded. So this live stream will be recorded, and so once I get done with it being live on YouTube at 6:30, 8:30 p.m. is the new release time on Rumble. So that's just something to keep in mind. You look at the stats for this game, though. Getting back to Michigan and Washington. Michael Penix Jr. for Washington. We're going to start with them. Michael Penix, 27 of 51, 255, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. And then you look at the run game. Dylan Johnson, 11 carries, 33 yards. Here's the big thing, though, that we're seeing, and that is that Dylan Johnson was hurt in most of the game. So, I mean, that's my thing is, with Dylan Johnson being hurt, I think that has a lot to do with how Washington wasn't able to really do much. Plus, I mean, you're putting a lot of stress on your quarterback in the national championship game. He has to throw 51 times. It was not an easy game for him. And so I'll say this. There was just a lot of pressure, I think, put on Michael Penix in the game. You look at receiving-wise, though. Dunze had 5 receptions for 87 yards. Westover had 5 for 42. Polk had 4 for 37. McMillan had 6 for 33. Johnson had 2 for 24. So, I mean, the ball was still distributed very well, but it was just not their night. I mean, they had to resort to the passing game a lot, and I don't think it helped them. I mean, clearly it didn't help them. They lost 34-13. But like I said, the game was a whole lot closer. J.J. McCarthy, 10 of 18, 140 yards. No touchdowns, no interceptions. Clearly, they didn't have to really throw the ball much. You look at the running game for Michigan. Blake Corum, 21 carries, 134 yards, 2 touchdowns. Donovan Edwards, 6 carries, 104 yards, 2 touchdowns. Keep in mind that Michigan had a couple of different runs that went for a long way, like 60-yard runs. So, I mean, it was a crazy night for as far as running the ball goes. So, overall, you look at team stats. What really stands out is the rushing yards. I think that's really what stands out in this game. Michigan 303 to Washington 46. Now, one thing that people are going to be saying is that there was a couple of calls the refs called that were a little tacky. I'll say this. I don't think it had a lot to change the outcome of the game when you consider that it was 34-13 at the end of the day. So, I mean, that's just my thing is, like, I just don't see where it changed much. I mean, it was a closer game, but at one point, And, of course, one thing that people forget is that one of those 2 interceptions that Penix threw was Mike Sanders still intercepting Penix and taking it back like 90-something yards to set up a Blake Corum touchdown that would make it 34-13. So that's one thing I think people forget about in this game is that it would have been 27-13 had Penix not thrown that interception. So that's just a little bit of my breakdown of the game. Really, to me, there's not a lot I took from it other than Michigan was a better team. And really, I will say this about the game, and that is that when you talk about a team that wanted to win more, and they had their mindset out that they were going to win the national championship, that was Michigan. Michigan was that team. So that's just my opinion on